Well, good evening, everybody. I wanted to do this live. I wanted to get it right. I wanted to go through all of it, all the political, real government accounts to make sure I didn't get any errors in everything that has transpired in literally the last 10 hours. This is absolutely the idea of a World War III, a Russia-USA initiated World War III. Now, folks, Elon Musk in here like a dirty shirt, goes through and presents a settlement. It's gone wild on Twitter. I tag one of his most popular Facebook page groups in this. I know Elon Musk's team will see it. Doesn't matter. When this video concludes, I'm going to put it on the last remaining Russian Twitter accounts, Elon Musk's real Twitter account, Joe Biden's real Twitter account. Whether they look at it or not, I'm going to do the UNSC members, but this is a major video, and I've put some posts up today. And I mean, it's late. I don't even like doing this, but it was a monumental day. And yes, death threats, official listing of one Tucker Carlson from Fox News. Now, folks, I share the same sentiments as one Tucker Carlson. In fact, just 18 hours ago, he interviews a United States general, expert, you can't dismiss, on the viability of everything that's being said. Can Russia bust through the Arctic ice, which I've stated many times? This isn't my narrative created. It's what all the experts from NORAD to NATO to American military generals, security team leaders in the world today, those close to presidents past, presidents now, and what they say. Elon Musk knows, and I tag SpaceX, that USA doesn't have the technology to defeat intercontinental ballistic missiles, especially at the range of the Arctic. Now, yes, USA could fire back at Russia, and yes, USA on its own soil could take out quite a bit. There's no doubt about that, but we're dealing with two giants, military giants. Put all your propaganda away and listen for a minute. Russia has over 45,000 nuclear missiles in their inventory. USA has 35,000. Folks, these numbers are astronomical. You don't even need 0.1% of those missiles being activated on any major land masses, 7 continents, and it's literally game over for the human race. Never mind individual countries and the rest of it. It's all bad news. I clearly show, as just last week, folks, not a month ago or 6 months ago, last week, Russia's brand new 2-fleet nuclear attack submarine, state of the art. Each one just transversed across the entire Arctic under the ice, coming out on the Pacific. Folks, they carry a whopping 16 ballistic missiles apiece. That's just 2 of them. That's 2 of their nuclear subfleet, Arctic subfleet, meaning busting through the ice, launching. And I'm going to tell you, there is no NORAD leadership anywhere, any general that's going to come forward and say, no problem, everybody. We have a missile defense system. Don't you worry about it. There isn't one. Even Elon Musk, who holds all the government contracts, states this. Sorry, USA is not capable. Neither is Russia in defense of such. But in development during this Green New Deal, Russia has enabled hypersonic missiles. In fact, folks, they go Mach 20. They steer very well. They're almost impossible to hit. I'm not saying USA can't hit a bunch. I'm just saying, do you really want to roll the dice when we're talking hundreds of such, and roll the dice on how many are going to hit land masses? Are we really going to do that? Now, all that aside, I put this up before, and I've asked this question, and nobody can answer any kind of defense today. That if Russia, with any one of those two, never mind the fleet of nuclear subs, that's not the only two they have, it's just their first rollout of their two brand new state-of-the-art attack nuclear ballistic missile submarines. They got all kinds of fancy equipment on these things. Now they can bust through the ice. These ballistic missiles, 16 on each sub, they only need four. And they can hit Canada's portion of absolutely the Great Lakes, the nuclear power plants of Ontario, with nuclear ballistic missiles, the fallout from the nuclear live reactors on the lakes, never even mind Michigan and USA's nuclear reactors. Let's just say Russia goes after NORAD's inability in Canada and targets Ontario, Lake Superior. Let's just say that that's what Russia does. And 4 of 32 get by, which there's no known defense for in Canada, not even in USA. You will find all the experts say, sorry, there's not a defense for that. And they hit those 4 nuclear plants. Nuclear plants, meaning they go up along with the nuclear blast of the ballistic missile. Folks, the fallout, that's the end of the Great Lakes, the largest source of fresh water. Now, people said to me, oh, well, Russia wouldn't destroy the world's largest supply of fresh water, would they? It's not theirs, is it? Doesn't affect them, does it? Who does it really affect? 65% of America? All of Canada? Think about it. Look at the range. You can even measure as the crow flies the Great Lakes, never mind Toronto, to the North Pole. And that's if Russia was behind the North Pole, which they just showed you. They busted through the ice 1 week ago with their most advanced nuclear submarine, ballistic missile loaded submarine in the world today. You're going to tell me it's not a big deal. Now, Elon Musk presents the Minsk agreements again. That's what he officially does on Twitter just a few hours ago. As, of course, the government reaches out to Elon Musk, he answers with, let's make a deal with Russia that they host legal referendums, meaning UN referendums, just like I said with Sudan, South Sudan, way back 2005. Done all over the world to all the refugees everywhere, and we see what the results are. Well, the problem is, Elon Musk, that is the Minsk agreements, and the fact that it was to remain those 4 obelisks were to remain Ukrainian, but give regional constitutionalism, the same kind of constitutionalism that is in the Russian Federation and won the United States of America. Meaning, just like all the 50 states, those 4 would get regional constitutions, remain in Ukraine, meaning the federal government of Ukraine, but they give the same division of powers that all those Russians enjoyed in the Soviet Union, not communism, the federalism. The federalism that's behind the Supreme Court of the United States, who follows the Constitution of the United States to a T, that yesterday CNN was attacking. I did a whole special on this, folks. They're tagged in this video. That was the Minsk agreements. Explain to me why there was violence from 2014 from Ukraine to pound out Eastern Orthodox Russians, who only left the Soviet Union and didn't want to leave federalism. And Canadians, you are a limited federalism. You may not have provincial and territorial constitutions, but at least you have territorial powers bestowed on your premier, who could do constitutions. They never done it. They should. But you understand as Canadians, don't you, that every province has its division of powers, your own little identity in this big country called Canada. Ukraine's a big country too. Russia's a massive country. The United States is a massive country. To hold all these little oblasts, states, territories together, USA has territories too. They need federalism, identity of the state or the obelisk. And those Russians had lived that way for more than 100 years. So when they became part of Ukraine and they realized, hey, we didn't want to become unitary, and we definitely don't want to lose our identity, our language. Does this sound familiar, Quebec? Those Eastern Orthodox Christians wanted their federalism, their identity, their culture, all these things protected in the UN by the UNSCP 5. They go, Russia, you said this would work out. You said this would work out. And now we're unitary, and now they're stripping us of our language, our culture by force. And USA's okay with this. Well, is USA okay with this? Well, the Democrats are. Joe Biden would love nothing more than to turn USA into a unitary system. Goodbye, 50 states. Hello, Los Angeles, or hello, New York as the central power. Can you imagine? What about Canadians and your limited federalism? Would you like to be Montreal, the governing power over the entire country, and there's no more provinces? Or Ottawa? Which one? Because only one of them would get it. Likely Ottawa. But would Canadians even enjoy that? I can guarantee you Quebec would end up exactly like the Eastern Russian Orthodox inside those four obelisks, who just wanted federalism. The promise of the Minsk. The promise of the Minsk. Elon Musk left South Africa before that was all done to his country and they became a republic. His family left. He never lived it. He's in the United States now learning all about federalism. Not sure I trust the man, but he presents referendum, the legal referendum now, and he questions everybody. Would this be a good settlement for Russia? Russia keeps Crimea. Russia allows this referendum to happen with all the refugees. And the results are whatever they are. If the people vote for Ukraine, goodbye Russia. If the people vote for Russia, goodbye Ukraine. Those hello four obelisks. What about the Minsk agreements and federalism? What is it about the overwhelming dictatorial world, the crown monarchy of UK, France, all the ally and axis powers of World War I and II? What is it with them that need to command people entirely? Take away your culture, your rights, your language, your identity, all your civil rights. Because I can tell you all world citizens, all those things are only given to us by the United States, and some of it through the Russian Federation. That's the truth since 1945. Because the world before that was League of Nations, age of empires, complete dictatorships. Very little private property, was all in the hands of a wealthy elite. Sound familiar? You call it New World Order, a lot of you, but it's actually Old World Order. old world order rotting the UN General Assembly. And we're lucky that we have UNSC P5 powers with veto to keep that in check. I don't want to see Russia gone. And I'll tell you why, folks, and neither does Tucker Carlson and a minority of Republicans at this point. And the reason is simple. If Russia's gone and that federalism is gone from the world, who's last remaining? Will USA survive in the narratives and the attack that's going on? Or is it to become a civil war place too? Because all focus in the world will go on USA. And if you think the world loves USA, I think even Canadians can pipe up here that you've been raised to really despise Americans. I know I was, growing up, America's bad, America's bad, America's bad. Bad. And I'm Canadian. I'm your next door neighbor. That's how we were raised. And I'm from Alberta. Alberta. What do you think the rest of Canada? You go to Ontario or Quebec and you start talking about Americans, you're going to get a major hate. Hate like you've never seen. I know all about it. Tucker Carlson is listed on a Ukrainian website on a kill list. They want to kill him for the things he's saying, a lot like what I say now. Tucker Carlson's a Harvard graduate. I'm just looking at the system here. I'm going to tell you, Republicans running the world after World War II, when we got into Eisenhower yesterday, the Supreme Court of the United States of America, what had transpired, what seemingly wasn't really lawful for the United States to, yet let alone the Supreme Court of the United States in the southern states of the United States of America through civil rights. Folks, it is true. I'll give that to the Democrats. It is somewhat true that yes, SCOTUS did this all this years ago in the name of black rights. And yes, Ike followed it. Richard Nixon completely pressed it forward nationwide. He held a super majority, one of the largest majorities in American presidential history. He did that. He still got tossed out of office, only at his own decision. He resigned. He was caught. Yes, I was wiretapping the Democrats for communist allegiances. He admitted it. Now, folks, we sit here, and in that time, USA made a promise to the world, and I talked about this yesterday. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and this is for Americans who don't get it. That happened. They destroyed the Axis powers, but it wasn't just the Axis powers, it was all colonial powers. Before 1945, it was League of Nations. 0 civil rights, 0 human rights, as we've noted. And you can look at all the international laws on human rights and the monumental achievements. They all originate from 2 states, USA and the Russian Federation, former Soviet Union. Whether we like that or not, go look. Go look at what the P5 did, what they've ratified, what monumental achievements they've done just in the last 75 plus years. Just those 2 countries. Never seen in any world ever before that day. Before that, the human was devalued, no good for nothing. And much of the world would go back into that in a heartbeat. Much of the world still participates in that system. There are P5 powers that are still unitaries with 0 codified constitutions. Still crown monarchs, lords over people. People, human beings who think they're of a god. I don't know why that, or did I just lose it? I guess I just burnt out my light. Second time. Oh well. Folks, Elon Musk can't save you. Russia can destroy the world many, many times over. USA can follow suit. Right now, today, we have threats thrown back and forth in a game of chicken between the 2 most powerful forces on the earth today, regardless of what people tell you. I don't care how much people are dumping into their GDP now for military. We're talking about two powerful federalisms that hold a mass amount of space terror, high range, high velocity nuclear capabilities that nobody in the world can rival today, no matter what they say. No matter what they say. Clearly, by tens of thousands of times, Russia and USA dominate the entire world. Two nations you don't want in a crossfire. Never. And right now, we have crossed the line of Cuban Missile Crisis just in this day alone, and what's been said, thrown back and forth, and all the players. And it is a game of chicken. And I don't see how any power can turn the wheel, because if USA veers off, the Democrats say, oh, we were just kidding. Well, you've lost all credibility. Russia turns the wheel, gives up Ukraine, it's all over. And I can tell you, factual tell you, Russia's not a super wimp. They're in the same shape as the United States militarily. They're comparable. When you look at the Vietnam War, over 565,000 Americans said, screw you, burnt their draft cards, or wouldn't take the draft. They're talking about 200,000 Russians not taking the draft. Did that change how many Americans went to Vietnam? No. Over 500,000 Americans went to Vietnam. Regardless of the draft dodging, the runaways, the card burners, and all the rest of it, didn't matter that the United States government went around capturing, prisoning people, making examples. Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, go look at it if you don't know it. Same thing going on in Russia at half the amount. Why only half? Because they're half the population of the United States. They're still going to get their 300,000 units, and they're going to dominate in Ukraine. There's been massive death toll, much larger on the Ukrainian side, much larger. Over 65,000 Ukrainian troops killed and wounded. Not a small number. Not a small number. You can talk tough as Americans in NATO. You can say, oh, we'll keep supplying, we'll keep going. You're running out of will. You're running out of bodies. The death toll's running up. Now, Russia, they estimate somewhere between 6,000 dead, lots injured as well, too. But they sent in a force of 100,000 folks. Now, with the 4 obelisks, Ukrainian is marching forward. It was 100,000 versus nearly 200,000 Ukrainian. Backed up by nameless. Now Russia's going, okay, we're going to send in 300,000. And they're likely to start sending in the bombers. Is it going to be nuclear? No, I don't believe so. Why would they hit Ukraine with nuclear weapons and allow the fallout to go over Russia? Not going to happen, cockamamie. But leveling cities with all kinds of other missile attacks, non-nuclear, not a problem. Russia's loaded to the gills. No different than the United States of America. No joke. USA says, well, as they've applied for NATO, that will be an attack on NATO. We will treat nuclear or non-nuclear in the same respect. In a game of chicken. Elon Musk stands up and he does this Twitter poll. You can go on Twitter and go look at it. His would-be Minsk Accord, sorta less. Wake up, Elon. Russia already presented a much better deal 8 years ago, and Ukraine agreed and then went, fuck you. And NATO allowed it, and everyone laughed, and they kept voting in the UN. Oh, yeah, do it, Ukraine, do it, Ukraine. Ukraine said, fuck you, every time. Yep, we'll do it. Fuck you. Russia said, you know what? We're Russia. We're saying fuck you now, and they have. To the last Ukrainian. USA enters a game of chicken, folks. I don't see how Joe Biden can veer the car off the road at this stage of the game. I don't believe Vladimir Putin for 1 second, the mindset of a Russian, is going to veer the car off the road. They got the foot to the pedal, and they will smash that vehicle right into the United States of America. If Joe Biden veers off, he goes, oh, no, okay, we weren't going to do nothing. USA's lost all credibility. All credibility, and things can go worse. So I don't see at this stage how we're going to get out of it. Midterms are too far away, folks. We're in early October. We've got a long way to go, let alone the president coming into power wouldn't be till February of next year. This shit, this mobilization with Russia, this reoffensive on Ukraine to defend their newly cemented obelisks belonging to the Russian Federation is going to be happening quickly as Western media continues to make fun and poke the bear. I don't find it funny when a nation holds 45,000 nuclear arms. 45,000. Much more than the USA. Not that it matters at that point, but this isn't like, hey, they're throwing grenades at each other. If it gets to that point where Russia feels that, hey, NATO's going to take us, they're going to crush us, or they're going to go bomb all our Russian troops, folks, why wouldn't they hit the Great Lakes? Do you think Russia's ever going to enjoy the Great Lakes or that fresh water? Does that impact Russia in any way, shape, or form? Do you think nuclear superpowers who developed these tens of thousands of nuclear weapons, do you think they were deciding, how do we preserve the land and the waters, the drinking water? No, folks. This is about eradication, not preserving nothing. It's what underground cities and bases are for. Go look at the history of the Cold War and nuclear facilities. We're not included. Like the old saying, batteries not included. We're not included in that. We're the fodder. If Russia had to target just an easy attack, the easiest one being the nuclear power plants of Canada, that will destroy 65% of the United States in just immediate fallout. Think about that. Never mind that it wipes out Canada. Canada's not even in the equation here, folks. That's just Russia blasting away across the Arctic into Canada. Through the Arctic into Canada. Serious stuff here. And we are in a serious game of chicken. I don't see how anyone can veer their car. Elon Musk can't veer the car. We went too far with this Green New Deal. Maybe they should have been planning for defenses and all this technology. Now we don't even have microchips. I think we're in a lot of trouble here, and I think that politicians politicize too much, just like medical and the pandemic, that now we're sitting here and you're politicizing military engagement, buffing up who's going to get reelected by selling lies to the people. These kind of little games they're playing with Russia are not to be played. I don't like the idea of calling someone's bluff or saying, I'm going to bomb the shit out of you if you bomb the shit out of them. Well, folks, that's going to happen. Russia's not going to back down or say, okay, we won't do any air attacks or missile attacks in Ukraine against Kiev to hold our newly minted obelisks that we gave you more than 8 years to figure out, and you gave us the middle finger every time the UN sat back laughing, playing a paper game. Nord Stream getting bombed. That's all over Twitter right now as I'm doing this video. Do you know what everybody is saying? Do you know what the European Union is chiming in about? Do you know what Germany thinks and other countries? That USA did it. Just going to throw it out there. Russia's lost all source of revenue for that. Russia's hurt the most. Sure, Europe's hurt. But who gets to sell the LNG for super marked up prices? I'll put it to you this way. 60 times what Albertans pay with the natural gas Great Lakes in Canada, and pretty much all Canadians up to Ontario. 60 times the cost. Think of the utility bills, which makes LNG viable for the number one supplier. Well, who would that be? Oh, the United States of America. Just saying, folks, it just seems to work out greatly for the number one beneficiary, Joe Biden's America, the Democrats, and all of their Green New Deal allies. They reap the rewards, not Russia. Who would bomb those pipelines? Who does it make sense to bomb it, right? It's like, right, police do an investigation. A woman's murdered. They look at the husband first because 3 weeks prior he took out an insurance policy on her life for $1.5 million. Now, do you blame the one-armed man that he says he saw in the house? Or do you look at next week you're going to be a beneficiary of $1.5 million, and we have you setting this all up 3 months prior to her untimely death, her murder? Who do you investigate and say, if I was going to prosecute, who is my number one suspect if I'm going to pursue prosecution? It doesn't make sense that Russia would cut off its energy retail. Russia would be the last person to destroy their own pipeline, and the fact that that's the last remnants of their monies. USA will get all the awarded deliveries, marked up 60 times Alberta's natural gas cost. Think about that. I don't know. Call me crazy. People can decide what they want. But this is real. This is credible. This is real thought. It's a huge minority. We're a minority. Very few of us. Limited amount of Republicans. There's a whole bunch of elected Republicans. Oh, yeah, smash Russia if that's what it takes. Whoa, easy to say, but what happens when they do march the 300,000 troops? What happens when they start firebombing Kiev with bombers and missiles? And again, it won't be nuclear, that's for sure, but what are they going to do when they can't invade Russia? Or are they going to have to invade Russia? Because the signal that will send is that you said you were going to fight them and now you're not. Well, now maybe Russia's going to go, look, we won the chicken game. Maybe we're just going to take the whole of Ukraine. Maybe we'll take the whole of Ukraine. Think USA is going to do that? What's that going to send a signal to the NATO allies and all of the European Union? They're going to say, whoa, are Americans prepared to send 500,000 troops to fight Russia in a global exchange? Are we all ready for a winner-loser-takes-all nuclear holocaust? Because I can't see the two most powerful nuclear-armed countries in the world with the highest science space based in the world letting this go. I can't. I definitely can't see Putin and Russians doing that. And I can't see the pride of America doing it either. How did we get here? I don't know what the answers are. Scary stuff. Talking to my mom, she leaves for Italy next week. She's going with my aunt. And it's scary. What's going to happen in the coming weeks here? Maybe the coming week here. Russia's going to move quickly as they organize their military, restructure, and come in and push back against Ukraine. Relatively easy. Think 3 times the force of the first 7-month force they sent in. Think about that. Western media likes to propagate a lot. Most of that media is owned by lords and barons stationed in the UK and Canada as well too. Fourth richest man in Canada, Lord Thompson. Baron Lord Black. Wow. The Laurentian elite lords, all from the United Kingdom. And this is what's getting spewed off in the United States. It's pathetic. I start looking, as I talk to Americans, I talk to quite a few, I start looking at old RCMP TV shows. Scare the living hell out of you. As a Canadian, you watch that like, what? They were producing this in the 50s and playing it in America? Never even heard of that show. Watch it. Then I start watching the old RCMP flick where they take the actor, the Canadian, but he's got a cut and he's exactly a match to Clark Kent's Superman. And the RCMP who doesn't use a gun uses his mind. Always honest, always tells the truth. Ask your average Canadian what an RCMP officer is like to deal with in Canada. Are they remotely anything even close to any of that TV propaganda? No. But you know what's sad, folks, is that Americans on average, when I talk to Americans, oh, isn't that what Canadian police are like? Isn't that what the RCMP are like? That's how they've been growing up. That's the shows they've watched over and over. It's like they propagated it so that the Americans never look across the 49th parallel like, hey, check out the Gestapo police. They have jurisdiction throughout all of Canada. Doesn't matter if it's a municipal cop, a provincial cop, or a federal cop, or a military cop. They are all one and the same in Canada. Exactly designed like the Gestapo, the SS, and the Militia of Russia during USSR's terrible reign of terror. A one police force with municipal, state power like individual, regional, all federal and all military. You don't make police like that. Obviously reasons why. Canada's the last remaining one in the world today. Built first on the oldest living example. Mimicked by the Soviet Union. Mimicked by Nazi Germany, much after Canada created them. And you can watch the propaganda videos made, the TV shows, very popular, that go through the Northwest Mounted Police, which became the RCMP, and to tell you this is all normal. It's all normal, they say. And Americans were blown away in Montana. A sheriff, an elected sheriff, and his community team of sheriffs, sub-sheriffs of him, and he's elected by the people, and he finds at a gun show a Canadian municipal police officer from Lethbridge teamed up with a partner and the ATF spying on Canadians and Americans at gun shows to see how many are going to sell and cross the Coots border. This was just a few days ago, folks. And Premier Jason Kenney, Premier Scott Moe, and the lady from Manitoba, Premier, I'm sorry, her name's slipping. They say, oh, we're going to shut all that down. We're never going to allow them to do any of that. We have Tyler Shandro, Minister of Justice, saying he's telling them not to do that. Folks, go look at every single police agency in the province of Alberta. Just the province of Alberta. It's the same for Saskatchewan, Manitoba. I know, I've read all the laws, all of the Constitution, every single act of police. That only Quebec and Ontario are promised an exemption, meaning they get their own provincial police force. Everybody else gets the same thing where no matter what the police force is, they're all Canada-wide, meaning they're under the federal justice minister. Tyler Shandro cannot command a single police officer. And did you know that the Premier's police force, the unelected sheriffs, can be commanded by Governor General to Prime Minister, taken away from the Premier any time they want to? It's in their oath. They will follow their commands. They always do. It's just like military. Just like that Lethbridge municipal sergeant followed the federal government commands. because he's sworn to His Majesty Charles III, Governor-General of Canada, Mary Simon, and will obey. They will all obey. That's their oath. They're not sworn to obey Tyler Shandro or anybody else you put in. Folks, the reality here today in nuclear war is a promise of two giants who led the world in the greatest civil and human rights achievements known to man throughout their whole entire history. The best we've ever been is by these two countries, whether you like them or not, whether you're told to like them or not. The underlying New World Order everybody's talking about is the old world order, the colonials of World War II and World War I, and the whole system of 500 years of colonial superpowers. Half Axis, half Ally. Shall I go through the names? UK, France, Germany, Portugal, Spain, Denmark, and Japan. Sound familiar? Can you remember now, World War II? Can you start putting the Allies and Axis together? Russia and USA aren't on that list, neither's China. But they were the three victorious, and they made a deal. France was gone. Germany destroyed France, stole all of its historical colonial jewels. They were Germany's. UK was falling bad. They had to make a deal with both Russia and USA, and China teamed up. And for that, 5 powers were established. There was an end to all colonialism, the old world order, that you all call the New World Order today, that's growing astronomically, embraced for a very long time by the Democrats in the United States. Absolutely all parties of Canada, Conservative, Liberal, NDP, Green Bloc, it doesn't matter. They're all crown colonials, every single one, sworn to an elite, an almighty Lord, a ruler over all men. And all civil and human rights be damned. Those belong with that first divine class, the lords, the gods over their fellow man. Sick, perverted, and wrong. Where do you think all these elite billionaires are aligning from? You can chase all their money back, and you will find it's represented in these colonial superpowers that are resurging. America's been under attack constantly throughout its lifetime since its founding and the War of Independence. It's always been under attack. I even shock Americans. I had a good talk with American yesterday. I show him historical maps. I show him of overlaps of what USA used to hold in Canada and what Canada had in USA under Britain while they were fighting the Spanish, the French, and the list goes on. 5 colonials USA fought to create the 50 states. Those wars have never ended. Not financially, not globally. They're just fought differently, more strategically, buying off elected officials, transforming political parties. I see it absolutely with the Democrats today. The most dangerous the Americans have ever been. Joe Biden is 10 times more dangerous than Donald Trump ever could be. He ever could be. That's a fact. I don't remember all this war and strife during Donald Trump. You start looking at the history of the Republicans. They made a deal with Russia and China. They cemented the one China policy. They cemented NATO with a Russian agreement. That was done. We were to follow that. The Minsk agreements, federalism's okay. What's wrong with that? Why is there a push for pure Unitarianism? What's with all this centralized government and extreme socialism? We're getting back to working on the master's land. That's what we're getting back to. That's what all my ancestors left Europe to come settle in Alberta many, many years ago. First to California and then to Alberta, going for the land to get away from the European old world order. It was sick, demented, wrong. They ran from it. A lot didn't make it on those boats. A lot didn't make it. Is this where we're going again? Is this what the new world's going to be? Or is it the end of mankind? Are we going to see a nuclear firefight, because it will come to that. If USA attacks those 300,000 Russians and bombs back against the bombers, it's officially going to be World War III. Russia and USA officially. It's almost there. They're in the game of chicken right now today. Right now in this hour as I'm giving this video. I bet you I jump off and I'm going to find more action back and forth on Twitter. And those are the real government accounts. Official. Very few Russians are unsanctioned left. We have the UNSC-P5 and that's it. The two UNSC representatives for Russia and MFA Russia. That's all there is. Sorry, 3 accounts. It's getting pretty scary. That's my video. Share, share, share. Think about these things. Look at it as it really is. In nuclear war or nuclear threats, there is no preservation. There's no care about anybody. It wasn't designed that way. People got to wake up to reality here. That's my video. Thanks. Share, share, share. I know it's not popular. I know it's a minority, and you do take a great risk sharing it. But that's on you for your children, because I know I'm not letting my boy go to war for no wealthy, elite, first-class politician in Canada. No fucking way. And my daughters neither. It'll be a cold day in hell. Bye now.